When most people start trading with $100, their mind instantly shifts into get-rich-quick mode. They picture doubling their account in a week, maybe turning it into $1,000 in a month, and before long, they're daydreaming about quitting their job. This mindset is exactly why most traders fail. Growing $100 into $1 million isn't about speed. It's about the ability to think in decades, not in days. The mindset that makes this possible is called the compounding mindset. The belief that slow, steady, and strategic growth always beats reckless chasing of fast gains. The compounding mindset is built on patience, discipline, and a long-term vision. At first, it's not flashy. It won't give you the adrenaline rush of going all in and watching your account swing wildly. But it's the same mindset that has built fortunes in every industry. From Warren Buffett in investing to Jesse Livermore in trading, the common thread is consistency. This way of thinking forces you to protect your capital, to grow it carefully, and to avoid sabotaging your own progress. Most traders look at $100 as pocket change, something they can afford to lose. But a millionaire trader sees that same $100 as a seed. You don't eat the seed. You plant it, water it, and protect it. And if you keep digging it up to see if it's growing faster, you'll kill it. In trading terms, this means resisting the urge to overtrade, to over-leverage, or to jump into random setups just because you're bored. The $100 account demands respect, because how you treat the small amount is exactly how you'll treat the big one. Here's a perspective shift for you. If you can grow your account by just 5% a week, the numbers get crazy over time. On $100, 5% is only $5. Most traders would laugh at that. But do it consistently, and in less than 5 years, that $100 can compound into $10,000. Scale that same discipline up with bigger capital, and the math eventually leads to hundreds of thousands, even millions. The principle is simple. Growth multiplied over time creates results that seem impossible in the short term. The problem is, most traders don't think this way. They want quick dopamine hits. They want to risk half their account on a single trade for the chance to brag about a big win. But what they don't see is that just 2 quick losses can wipe them out, and the emotional spiral that follows is often worse than the financial one. This is where the compounding mindset separates winners from losers. Millionaire traders don't measure success by a single trade or even a single week. They measure success by their ability to take disciplined action over months and years. Think about Richard Dennis, the legendary commodities trader. Back in the 1970s, he started with around 1,000 cents and turned it into hundreds of millions over the next decade. He didn't get there by gambling. He applied repeatable rules, managed risk carefully, and let time do the heavy lifting. His story isn't about luck. It's about patient discipline. That's the same mindset you need, even if you're starting with just $100. The compounding mindset also changes the way you view losses. Most traders panic when they lose money, thinking it's a massive setback. But a trader who embraces compounding knows losses are part of the plan. If you lose 2% today, it doesn't matter. Stick to your strategy, and you'll make it back over time without risking too much. This is emotional stability. Because the second you let a single loss push you into revenge trading, you've already lost the bigger mental game. Let's talk about emotional energy. Trading isn't just about charts and numbers. It's about how you feel when you make decisions. If you're chasing quick money, you're constantly anxious. Every price movement feels like life or death. That pressure clouds your thinking. But when you shift into the compounding mindset, you remove the need to get rich now. Instead, you focus on making the right move consistently. That reduces stress, sharpens your decisions, and ironically, leads to faster growth in the long run. One trap new traders fall into is comparing themselves to others. They'll scroll through social media and see someone flipping $500 into $5,000 in a week. Suddenly, they feel like they're behind. What they don't see is that those traders are often taking insane risks, and many of them blow up their accounts soon after. The compounding mindset ignores all that noise. It's about building your own journey at your own pace, with rules you can stick to no matter what the market throws at you. Here's a simple example. Imagine you have $100 and your goal is to grow it by 3 to 5% each week. You have a solid strategy that gives you 2 or 3 high-quality trades per week, with a 1-2 risk-to-reward ratio. You risk 2% of your account per trade on $100, that's just $2. If you win, you make $4. That might seem small, but stay consistent, and your account will start snowballing. At $500, you're making $10 per win. At $5,000, it's $100 per win. Same process, same strategy. The only difference is the number of zeros. This is the foundation of turning small accounts into big ones without blowing up along the way. And here's the hidden benefit of starting small. It forces you to master risk management early, before big money is on the line. Too many traders suddenly get a large amount of capital, maybe from savings or a funded account, and blow it within weeks because they never learned to respect small amounts. By taking your $100 seriously, you're training yourself to one day respect $100,000. It's the same game, just on a bigger scoreboard. Now, don't mistake the compounding mindset for passivity. This isn't about sitting back and hoping your account magically grows. It's about actively refining your strategy, learning from mistakes, and adjusting to the market while always staying within controlled risk. You're not swinging for home runs. You're just getting on base every day. And over time, those base hits add up to a championship season. Some traders resist this approach because it feels slow. But ask yourself, what's better? Spending 6 months chasing quick wins, blowing up multiple accounts, and ending up back at zero? Or spending those same 6 months building a track record of consistent growth so that when bigger capital comes, you're ready? One path gives you short bursts of excitement, followed by frustration. The other gives you discipline, confidence, and the potential for real wealth. Here's another truth. The compounding mindset isn't just about money. It's about identity. When you adopt it, you start seeing yourself as a professional, not a gambler. Professionals think in terms of systems, probabilities, and long-term goals. Gamblers think in terms of luck, hunches, and one big score. The market rewards professionals and punishes gamblers. Your $100 account is not just small money. It's your training ground to become the kind of trader the market respects. At the end of the day, the compounding mindset boils down to 3 things. Protect your capital, grow it steadily, and never rush the process. If you can master that with $100, you've built the mental foundation to scale it into $1 million. The dollar amounts may change, but the mindset stays the same. Once you internalize that, you'll realize your small account isn't a limitation. It's your greatest asset. In trading, patience isn't just about waiting. It's about the ability to wait without destroying yourself in the process. Most traders think they're patient because they can hold a position for an extra 5 minutes, or because they can sit through a small pullback without closing early. But real patience, the kind that builds wealth, is different. I call it ruthless patience. Ruthless patience is when you stand in front of the market, watch the price come within inches of your dream entry, and still refuse to pull the trigger because the setup isn't perfect. It's when you can sit there while the market tempts you with volatility, whispers at you to jump in, and you still do nothing. Because you understand that not trading is a trade. This mindset is rare because the market is designed to trigger impatience. From the second you log in, every candlestick feels like an invitation. Every tick says, act now or miss out. And if you're not ruthless with your patience, those whispers turn into commands. And you obey. A trader without patience will find trades everywhere. A trader with ruthless patience only moves when the odds are stacked heavily in their favor. Back in 2003, I read about a trader who had a strict rule: no more than 4 trades a month. Not because he was lazy, but because he knew his system only produced 4 high-probability setups in that time. 1 month, he sat on his hands for 23 days. Then, on day 24, his signal appeared. He executed perfectly, and that single trade made him more than most impatient traders made all month combined. When he was interviewed, he said something that stuck with me forever. "If the market will still be here tomorrow, why should I rush today?" That line captures the essence of ruthless patience. The hard part is that patience feels like doing nothing, and doing nothing feels wrong when you're supposed to be working. Our brains are wired to equate productivity with activity. In a normal job, you type emails, attend meetings, take calls. In trading, the most productive thing you can do might be to stare at the screen for hours and take no action at all. That feels unnatural. Your hands itch to click. Your mind convinces you that any movement is better than no movement. And so you break. You enter too soon. You chase. You take trades that almost meet your rules. You sabotage yourself. Ruthless patience isn't passive. It's active waiting. It's a conscious choice to protect your capital until the exact conditions you've defined are present. And that requires real strength, because the world rewards speed, instant results, and quick wins. Trading rewards the opposite. In the market, the tortoise doesn't just beat the hare. The hare blows up his account while the tortoise compounds slowly into freedom. There was a legendary commodities trader in the 1980s who reportedly only traded about 15 days a year. People thought he had some mystical edge. But really, his edge was discipline. He knew exactly what his setups looked like, and on every other day, he simply did nothing. He once said the waiting was as boring as watching paint dry. But when the trade came, it was like stepping in front of a moving train with perfect timing. That's ruthless patience. Waiting for the train you know is coming, not running after every shadow. To develop this mindset, you need clarity. If you don't have a well-defined trading plan, you can't be patient because you don't even know what you're waiting for. The mind hates uncertainty. Without clear rules, your brain convinces you that any opportunity is good enough. But when you know exactly what a perfect setup looks like, you can reject everything else with confidence. The clearer your rules, the easier it becomes to sit on your hands through the noise. In 1995, a futures trader named David H. was mentored by one of the top pit traders in Chicago. The mentor told him, "If you can stand on this floor all day and make 0 trades, you're ready to be a pro." At first, David thought it was a joke. Why would a trader not trade? But after blowing 2 accounts, he understood. The mentor wasn't teaching him to avoid trading, he was teaching him to avoid bad trading. That year, David practiced waiting. He let dozens of tempting setups pass. When his exact signal came, he executed with size and precision. By year's end, his win rate improved by over 40%. His strategy hadn't changed, his patience had. The real test of ruthless patience comes during drawdowns. When you're losing, the temptation to make it back quickly is overwhelming. The impatient trader doubles down, chases high-risk setups, and tries to force the market to repay them. The patient trader does the opposite. They accept the drawdown, step back, and keep waiting for the same high-quality setups that got them profitable in the first place. It's counterintuitive, but that's why the patient trader survives while the impatient one burns out. Patience is also the foundation of scaling. Imagine you have that $100 account. If you're impatient, you might flip it into $200 fast, but just as quickly, you could crash it down to $50. If you're patient, maybe you only grow at 5% the first month. That's $5. Doesn't sound like much, but that 5% compounds. Month after month, your small, steady gains build a stable foundation that can eventually support larger positions and bigger opportunities. Impatience chases explosions. Patience builds empires. One of the toughest parts of ruthless patience is handling what-if moments. You skip a trade because it doesn't meet your rules, and it ends up being a winner. The impatient side of your brain screams, "See? You should have taken it." But here's the truth. A good process will sometimes let winners go. That's not a flaw. That's the price of long-term survival. Your job isn't to catch every single winner. Your job is to take only the trades that fit your edge. The market will always offer more opportunities. Missing one doesn't matter. Breaking your rules does. Patience also shapes how you manage trades once you're in them. An impatient trader cuts winners short because they can't stand the thought of a reversal. A patient trader holds for the full target because they trust the probabilities of their system. That's why patience isn't just about entries. It's about the entire trade life cycle, from waiting for the setup to managing the trade to waiting again. Patience is the thread that keeps you consistent. Now, ruthless patience doesn't mean perfection. You'll still take trades you shouldn't. You'll still close early sometimes. The goal is to make patience your default state. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And over time, your account will reflect the change. Fewer trades, higher win rates, lower stress, and more freedom. If there's one image that captures ruthless patience, it's the lion in tall grass. The lion doesn't chase every antelope it sees. It waits, it watches, it studies. And when the perfect target comes within range, it strikes with precision and full force. That's how you survive in the market. Not by running after every flicker of movement, but by conserving your energy until the odds are stacked in your favor. In the end, ruthless patience isn't just a trading skill, it's a life skill. It teaches you to value quality over quantity, to trust your process, and to resist the urge to act for the sake of action. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's the reason some traders quietly compound their way to financial freedom, while others flame out in a blaze of overtrading. If you can master it, your $100 account won't grow overnight. But given time and patience, it will grow beyond anything you imagine. One of the hardest lessons traders must learn is this: the market doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about your feelings, your hopes, or how badly you want to set up to work. The market isn't your friend. It isn't your enemy. It's just a mirror reflecting your discipline or your lack of it. Most traders lose because they tie their identity to every single trade. They treat each position like it defines who they are as a trader. That's why a loss feels like a personal attack, and a win feels like a validation of their worth. But here's the truth: no single trade matters. What matters is the collective result of hundreds of disciplined trades executed over time. Think about it this way: a trader risks $100 and loses. The disciplined trader shrugs. It's just one data point. But the undisciplined trader feels something much worse: the need to get it back immediately. That's how revenge trading is born. Suddenly you're seeing setups that aren't really there. Suddenly you're forcing trades just to erase the sting, and the market punishes that every single time. To survive, you have to become emotionally detached from each trade's outcome. A loss is not a personal failure. It's simply the cost of doing business. Winning traders don't ask, "Was I right?" They ask, "Did I follow my plan?" I've seen traders with incredible technical skills lose everything because they couldn't handle their emotions. One trader I knew had a 60% win rate, solid numbers. But his losses were twice as big as his wins because he panicked the moment a trade went against him. He'd close early, flip positions, or second-guess his strategy. His edge wasn't the problem. His emotions were. Emotional detachment isn't optional. It's a survival skill. Imagine flipping a coin. You know that out of 100 flips, it'll land on heads around 50 times. You wouldn't panic if the first 3 flips were tails. You understand probability. Trading is the same. If your edge plays out over 100 trades, then one loss, or even 10 losses in a row, doesn't matter. What matters is sticking to the system. But when emotions take over, you abandon your edge. You stop being a trader and start being a gambler. I knew a trader in 2008 during the global financial crisis who made over $400,000 in 6 months shorting bank stocks. His strategy was sharp, his timing impeccable. But one sudden reversal cost him $50,000 in a single day. He couldn't accept the loss. He started doubling down, chasing moves, trying to get even. 3 months later, every dollar of his profit was gone. He admitted later, "It wasn't the market that ruined me. It was my refusal to accept being wrong." That's the danger of emotional attachment. If you need the market to make you feel good, you'll eventually lose everything. The mindset you need is detachment. Place a trade, accept the risk before you hit buy, and let it play out according to plan. If the plan says cut the loss, you cut it, no hesitation. If the plan says hold, you hold. No second guessing. The moment you start saying, but maybe it will turn around, that's your emotions talking. And emotions are the enemy of consistency. The best traders I've met treat each trade like one grain of sand on a beach. They don't celebrate wildly on wins, and they don't spiral into despair on losses. They focus on the process. Process over outcome, always. Because the second you judge yourself based on one trade, you hand your emotions the steering wheel. This detachment also means stripping away ego. Your trades are not you. A losing trade doesn't mean you're a bad trader, and a winning trade doesn't mean you're a genius. Ego is dangerous. It wants to prove you're right. It keeps you in bad trades because you don't want to admit you're wrong. But the market doesn't reward stubbornness. It rewards humility. The trader who cuts a bad trade quickly will always outlast the one who refuses to let go. Here's a mental shift. Your job isn't to predict the market. Your job is to manage risk and let your edge play out over time. That's it. When you see losses as nothing more than business expenses, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster. Think about a restaurant owner. If an order gets canceled, they might have to throw away a few meals. They don't shut the restaurant down in frustration. They keep serving, knowing the business will still be profitable overall. That's trading. Losses are the cost of doing business. In fact, one small-time trader in Chicago started with just $2,000 in the mid-90s. He barely broke even his first year, but he had one advantage. He didn't care about individual trades. He cared only about refining his process. By 2001, he'd turned that $2,000 into $3 million. When asked how he did it, he said something powerful. I stopped needing the market to make me feel good. I just needed it to follow the math. That's emotional detachment in its purest form. You can train this. Step 1. Define your risk before every trade. If you decide you're willing to lose $50, accept that loss before you enter. That way, if it happens, it doesn't shock you. Step 2. Focus only on the next trade. Win or lose, the last trade is already gone. Step 3. Size your positions so that losing doesn't cause emotional damage. If a single trade makes you too nervous to think straight, you're risking too much. When you strip emotions out, something amazing happens. You stop chasing. You stop hesitating. You start following your rules with precision, and over time, the market rewards that precision. But even discipline and patience won't be enough if you can't adapt. Markets are living, breathing beasts. They change, they evolve, they punish rigidity and reward flexibility. The traders who last long enough to grow small accounts into life-changing wealth understand this. Nothing in the market is permanent. Not trends, not volatility, not your favorite setup. This is where the mindset of relentless adaptation comes in. It's not about predicting the future perfectly. It's about adjusting quickly when the present changes unexpectedly. The dangerous trap here is comfort. Your brain craves familiarity. It wants you to keep doing what feels safe. But in trading, comfort can kill you. In 2008, when the financial crisis hit, traders who had been leaning on long-term stability suddenly found themselves drowning in chaos. The ones who adapted quickly, switching to short-term plays, adjusting their risk, cutting positions fast, didn't just survive, they thrived. They didn't waste time wishing for the old market to return. They accepted the change and moved with it. Adaptation means treating strategies like tools. Tools are meant to be used when useful and set aside when they're not. Too many traders confuse consistency with stubbornness. True consistency is about applying good principles over time. Stubbornness is refusing to change when conditions demand it. Nature gives us the best lesson here. Species survive by adapting to their environment. When they fail to adapt, they go extinct. Trading works the same way. Some months you might trade aggressively because volatility is high. Other months you might barely trade at all, just preserving capital. The adaptive trader adjusts without guilt, without frustration, without FOMO. One of the best ways to develop this mindset is to treat every market condition as a teacher. Trending markets teach you discipline. Ranging markets teach patience. Chaotic markets teach risk control. Weak traders complain about bad markets. Strong traders adapt and extract lessons. The key is to make adaptation a habit, not a reaction. If you only change when you're forced to, you're already behind. You should always be experimenting, testing new approaches, and preparing for shifts. That way, when the environment changes, you're ready. Marty Schwartz, known as Pitbull, was a legendary trader who exemplified this. He didn't cling to one method. When the market changed, he expanded his toolkit, studied different markets, adjusted his risk. His ability to reinvent himself kept him profitable long after others burned out. Relentless adaptation also means adapting to yourself. Some days you'll feel sharp and focused. Other days you'll feel off. The adaptive trader recognizes this and adjusts. Maybe trading smaller, maybe trading less, maybe not trading at all. Adaptation isn't just about markets. It's about you. In the end, this mindset is the final piece of the puzzle. Because without adaptation, all the discipline, patience, and emotional control you've built can be destroyed by one stubborn refusal to change. The market doesn't care what worked yesterday. It rewards those who move with it like water, flexible but powerful when needed. So here's the truth. The trader who grows $100 into $1 million isn't the one who finds a perfect system. It's the one who reinvents themselves as many times as necessary to stay ahead. Discipline, patience, resilience, and relentless adaptation. Those are the 4 cornerstones. Master them, and your account is no longer limited by its size. It's limited only by your imagination and your willingness to grow. Remember, the market is a mirror. If you're rigid, it will break you. If you're fluid, it will carry you forward. Be the trader who bends, shifts, and transforms whenever necessary. That's how you survive. That's how you thrive. That's how you turn $100 into $1 million.